United Spurs of America, with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the United Spurs of America podcast. And hello to everyone watching on Spotify video.
Hey.
Yes. I'm Michael. He's Jacob. Oh, there we go. I got the point down. There we go.
There we go. Feeling nice.
Welcome back, everyone. Tottenham 1, Watford 0. Another win in the Premier League, and more importantly, another 3 points in the Premier League for Antonio Conte's tricky Lily Whites. Jacob, how are we doing today, my friend? We have a lot of positive stuff to talk about. There's some worrying. Obviously, it wasn't a perfect performance by any means necessary, but it's another road win in the Premier League, and we got to stay positive.
I mean, 7 points out of a possible 9. Can't be too upset at this current run of form. Now, you could argue, hey, these teams, they're not top flight teams. I mean, they're not like the best of the best, right? They're kind of the lower end. So, I mean, I could hear it, but for me, fuck out of here. I ain't hearing it. 7 out of 9 points, baby. We got 2 games in hand, 2 points off of top 4.
Yep.
That's. I mean, if you're a Spurs fan and you don't have a boner because of that, I don't know who you are. Because honestly, that to me just means like, oh, Antonio Conte, you are our everything. You are our savior, much like Davinson Sanchez was our savior against Watford.
Yep. Goal scored by Davinson Sanchez in the match, like you mentioned, Jacob, on the road at Vicarage Road against Watford in the 96th minute, 6 minutes into stoppage time, after it was announced that there would be, 8 total minutes, was it? Was it 6 total or 8 total minutes of stoppage time?
I thought it was like 7.
There was a medical emergency
8.
in the stands, which caused a little bit of a delay in the 4th or so minute. So there was a lot of added time to be added on just because of the delay of the game. But yeah, you're right, Jacob. You bring up a good point. We'll get into the performance specifically in a little bit, but when you look at things as they stand right now, Tottenham has at least 2 games in hand over pretty much every other team in the Premier League above them. And you mentioned it, only 2 points behind 4th. We're in 6th right now, but like I mentioned, 2 games in hand, and we do play Arsenal next, who are currently in 4th. And hey, it's a North London derby in the next Premier League match for Tottenham Hotspur. Anything can happen. But more importantly, man, like we talked about, 3 important road points in the Premier League and make it 8 unbeaten under Antonio Conte in his first 8 matches as a Spurs manager, the first to ever do that in club history.
I think in league history, right? I think that's a Premier League record.
I know it's a Spurs record. I'm not too sure on the Premier League.
I don't know. I thought I heard someone on the telly. On the television. I thought I heard him say that no one's ever done that. That no one's ever had 8 undefeated Premier League games in their first 8. So I could be wrong. At me, shout out at whoever the fuck on Twitter who also showed us that was the stat. But I mean, that just shows you that this guy can take a bunch of turds, shine them up, and sell them as diamonds, right? Like, that's what we're kind of looking at. Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, these guys that we wrote off, they're starting to turn their trajectory around, if you will. You know, I mean, Eric Dyer, this guy's arguably been one of our best defenders. I mean, I know when you look at the 11, it's just kind of, it looks like what would be our strongest 11 at this current point, right? It kind of feels like this is Conte's preferred 11, and I don't know who you'd put in over who other than Romero when he comes back. But I mean, I don't know what you think when you look at this 11. Like, what's really missing other than Romero?
Go ahead and call it out.
Oh, all right. So we got Lloris, obviously Hugo Daddy in goal, Emerson Royale at the right wing back, Davinson Big Dick Energy Sanchez.
Big Dav Energy, baby.
Big Dav Energy, baby. Eric Dyer, Ben Davies, kind of rounding out the back 3 there. And then we got Reguilon.
No. It's not the back 3. What did you tell me? What did you tell me to call that?
Oh, I don't remember, bro.
The
What?
threesome.
Oh,
The
the
threesome at
threesome,
the
the three
back.
back threesome. Yeah, hey, that threesome looking nice though. And honestly, all three of them, I wasn't trying to see none of them, but
Mhm.
now I'm trying to watch that threesome. And I think if you look at their two holding mids here that we got in Skip and Hoybier, I think that they really help out as well, kind of help them be a little bit better. So yeah, we had Skip and Hoybier also starting. Heung-min, Daddy Son, Lucas Kane to round out the attack. So for me, it just screams Antonio Conte's strongest 11 at this point. I mean, I really hope we get someone. I mean, we saw during the match, right, that we were just kind of this game's screaming out for someone creative like a Tanguy and Dombele.
Mhm.
I don't know if there was someone else that you had in mind that you thought could kind of change up this game, but what did you think of the 11?
Yeah, man. I look at this 11 and I have the exact same reaction that you do. This is Antonio Conte's best 11 that he's chosen to go with. This is the most consistent 11 we've seen, and it's going to be continue to be that way until we get some reinforcements in the January transfer window. Which, by the way, Happy New Year to all of our listeners out there
Oh,
right
Happy
now.
New Year! Happy New
This is our
Year!
first episode of the pod in 2022. Happy New Year to everyone listening. Hope everyone had a safe and happy New Year, and hopefully 2022 brings many good tidings for all of you guys, and hopefully it brings good tidings for Tottenham Hotspur as well. But yeah, man, this is Antonio Conte's Tottenham starting 11 until we get reinforcements in the January window. And you look at it, and yeah, you're right. You mentioned it. At halftime, I was screaming out for once again either a Tanguy Ndomtekak, or I'll even bring in a player that hasn't been great, but I thought his style of play was it was kind of screaming for his style of play, because I felt like we got so static,
Hmm.
especially early on in the second half, where players just weren't moving, they weren't finding dangerous spaces, and everything was just kind of at standstill, and that's why we were feeding our wingbacks so much on the flanks, because no one was making any runs, I would argue, besides Lucas Moura and Kane and Son every now and again. But
Hmm.
as far as the midfielders go, there was no movement whatsoever. I thought it was screaming for Ndombele, and to be honest, I thought the game was kind of screaming for a player like Dele Alli, who's going
Hmm.
to get into the box, make those driving runs, at least ask for the ball. If there's one thing that Dele Alli is good at, is making chances out of nothing, pretty much by making dangerous runs either over the top or through the back line, or he will go to the ball and he wants the ball at his feet. Now, his end product, that's a different story. Obviously, it's been a different story this season in the past few seasons, if we're being honest. But I thought that type of situation in the second half, where it seemed like Watford was playing in a back six at one point, like a 6-2-2. They were playing very compact and fair play. They were very well organized, but you need a player to unlock low block defenses like we saw at Watford. And I thought Ndombele was perfect for that. I thought maybe even Dele Alli could have made somewhat of an impact, but it's just frustrating, because you can tell that Antonio Conte doesn't trust the players that he doesn't play. They're obviously not playing for a reason. And
Hmm.
whether it be effort in training, whether it just be, you know, a lack of good performances like we've seen from like players like Dele Alli, but we've also seen players like Harry Winks come back into the fold and make an impact. He was subbed on late in the second half as well. But you're starting to see the players who are being trusted and who aren't. And unfortunately, the
If
ones
you
who
would have
weren't coming into the match, and we needed them.
if you would have told me, right, last year that we'd have Antonio Conte and there'd be a point in at a game in which a recently promoted team, right, there'd be a point in that game where I'm like, please, Harry Winks, let's see some magic.
Hmm.
I mean, if you would have told me that I would be going through that during a Spurs game, I would have told you you're smoking crack.
Exactly,
But I mean, that's what Antonio Conte can do, right? You
exactly.
kind of feel like whoever he's subbing on, there's a definite reason, there's a definite purpose behind everything we're doing. And I mean, hey, we had the health break, right? And then what do? We come back, we win a penalty in a cheeky area, and what happens? Youngman Daddy, you know what I mean? So like, I would also argue that Harry Kane missed out on a penalty just because of his sheer balance and thickness, his girth, if you will. He just has like a natural girth. There he is. There he is. Harry Kane bobblehead. Go ahead. I don't think you could knock that bobblehead over either. I mean, that guy was literally. I don't even know what was his name. Who was that? What number was he? the guy who was just pretty much molesting Harry Kane in the box, and no, if he was any other
You talking
striker,
about Sierralta? Was it Sierralta
Francisco,
or
yeah,
Truce de
yeah,
Kong?
I
Yeah,
feel like it
Francisco.
was
Yeah, it's
Francisco, yeah,
Sierrata.
fucker, yeah. So he's basically,
Sierralta, sorry,
if you
Sierralta.
didn't see the game and you're seeing me now, this is what he was doing to Harry Kane with both his hands around his back, just kind of holding him,
Feeling him up a
and
little bit. I mean, I do
and
the
Harry Kane
same,
was,
to be fair.
hey, if I was a defender and I'm playing against Harry Kane, I might do the same with my hands. But
It's
either
understandable,
way,
man.
that's a penalty. That's a penalty. I think Harry Kane got a little robbed. He
And so
deserved
did
his
Dyer.
his
You could
PK.
you could argue there was that Dyer incident in the box as well, where the Watford
Yeah.
defender pretty much just tackled him to the ground for no apparent reason, and nothing was given. It was weird. It was weird.
It was definitely a weird game, and I mean, what a weirder way than a Davinson Sanchez in stoppage time buzzer beater, right? Like, who would have drawn that up? I mean, the man's getting on the score sheet, right? And we kind of talked about it offline, you and I, that we need those goals coming from the set pieces. We need those, and we don't have Toby. And Toby was the general at Toby and Yan. Honestly, they were both so great at finishing set pieces for us that we kind of had production from the back, so we didn't have to rely so much on Heung-min Daddy and Harry Kane and Lucas Moura. But you know, I'm really happy for Davinson Sanchez, and for me, that celebration, man, that's big dog celebration.
Another
That
stone
was
cold stare down.
just flex on him. Who's gonna give me a hug? Like, come on, I loved it.
Yeah, man, I think he's been fantastic. I think he's been absolutely brilliant over the past few games or so. He's had his errors and his mistakes earlier this season. Obviously we know he's prone to mistakes every now and again, but to be fair to give him credit, he's been very consistent over the past few games, and the games that he's started in the 11, he's saved us 2 points, arguably, at Southampton after Dyer had the blunder late in the match, and he came up huge again and secured all 3 points for us on the road. And like we mentioned on the last pod after Southampton, there is no easy games in the Premier League. You have to fight and earn every single point that you can get in this league, especially on the road. And you saw how stubborn and well organized Watford were at the back, and you have to give them credit. They held up well into that point. They
Yeah.
dug deep, and they stood firm. We knew what they were trying to do. They just wanted to secure a point. They're fighting for relegation right now. Teams are going to get desperate, and they're going to have desperate tactics. We need to be able to break through those type of defenses and pick them apart rather than relying on a Davinson Sanchez header. But you know what? I'll fucking take it for now because we still need reinforcements, and it's very clear after that performance that we do. But I just wanted to bring, so you mentioned, obviously getting us a goal off of a set piece, and you bring up a good point because look, this was my point of view. I was getting so frustrated with everyone who was taking set piece opportunities, whether it be corner kicks or free kicks. I think Sonny failed to beat the first man like 2 times on 2 corners, and basically all of these chances were trying to be created, and it was just coming up to absolutely nothing. And the first decent ball that I think, in my opinion, was played all game long from a set piece happened to be the assist to Davinson Sanchez. That sunny that sunny curler into the box that went right to his dome was absolutely beautiful. And you could argue if that didn't happen, we would be talking about a completely different game. We would have a completely different mood, and I think I would be making a completely different point. But the first quality chance that we had off of a set piece, the first quality deliverance ended up as a goal. We just need to see a little bit more consistency with that, and I think we'll be more successful.
And here's the thing is them fucking crosses were coming in the box all day.
Yep.
Emerson Royale
From
had
the wing
tons
backs.
of chances. And I mean, at some point I kind of just throw my hands up. How many times has a man got to put a ball in the box till someone gets on the end of it? Now, whose fault is it, right? Is it his fault because it's a bad cross? I mean, some of those were right
Some of
outside
those
the six,
were
but
some
they
of
were
them were decent, but some of them were
some of them were
kind
right
of
outside
kind
the
of bad.
the what is that 6 yard box. So for me, I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and unfortunately, it didn't seem like we were taking many shots there. And like you said, fair shout to Ranieri. You know, he had a solid game plan to kind of say, "Hey, all right, Tottenham, bring at me what you're gonna do." And we got our general Musa Sissoko out there who's gonna lead our troops. So
Yeah, man,
for
it's the
me,
Watford Fighting Sissokos. Didn't you hear? They changed their mascot.
I was really hoping Thick Boy Danny would be out there and we could watch all
I
Thickens run
love me some
around.
thick boy
I
Danny.
love me some Danny. He's such a good guy too. Like he
Yeah,
does so much for the Spurs youth, and he has done, and he continues to just like support them and show. So shout out Danny, shout
yeah,
out
he's
Danny if
he's
you listen to
Tottenham
the
through and
pod.
through.
Yeah, he's definitely a Tottenham lad. But hey, like I said, for me, Heung-min Son can do no wrong. There was something you actually texted me during the game, got a little heated. Actually, after the game, I had to tell my wife, "Hey, you know, I got kind of heated with Michael." She was like, "Oh, is y'all kiss and make up yet? Y'all gonna record a pod?" You know, so it's all fun. But you said something. I don't know what minute it was in,
It was
but
early in the second half,
right,
I think it was like midway through the second half.
bro. Can you pull up our text and can you read
I
it?
know what it was. I
What'd you
said,
say?
"Son has been poor."
And I'm getting sweaty right now just thinking about it because my
I think I was a little bit to be fair, I think I was a little bit too aggressive with the word poor, but it was very frustrating to watch him just try to beat the first man and fail to do so on numerous corner kicks. And it was
mhm.
just getting frustrating at some point. I was like, dude, come on. Like, what are we watching? We're not watching Giovanni Lo Celso, which, by the way, we did get a
We
rare
did see some
Giovanni Lo
Giovanni
Celso
Lo
sighting
Celso. Yeah.
late in the second half. I think it was like in the 80th minute or so. He did come on. It was his first appearance since injury. And shout out whoever the fuck on Twitter who also put out a stat. I think it was, if I remember correctly, whoever the fuck said that he's missed 48 games through injury and illness since joining Spurs. That's ridiculous.
I mean, that's an insane stat, right? Like
But yeah,
what
man.
bothers me real quick about Lo Celso, what bothers me is it seems for every Argentinian game, this man is 100% healthy and ready to support Messi. But when
It's
we
just the
need
Messi
him,
effect.
when we need him throughout the season, what do we get? We get a Twitter account called Stop That Geo, and it's just
That's your
dedicated to.
favorite
I
account.
love that account because honestly, I've said it on the pod before. I don't know, like 5 episodes ago. I'm fucking done with Giovanni Lo Celso, bro. Until he shows me anything, he'll never be. He's Eric Lamella, off-brand Eric Lamella to me right now. Um, Lamella's more of a club legend than Gio. So
Hmm.
for me, bro, I wasn't that excited when I saw him. But again, I trust Conte. So if he's going out there with whatever Conte told him, I'm going to trust it at the end of the day. I'll be honest, I'm going to trust it. But I don't trust Giovanni Lo Celso, not one bit. And he didn't have much time. So to be fair, like I can't really say, oh, I didn't see too much out of the guy, but
Hmm.
he didn't have that much time. So he was out there for a goal. So you could argue he had some effect, right? But all in all, for me, I want to go back to what we were talking about with the Youngman Son thing real quick. Because my first instinct was to
But
attack you
look,
about Harry
I
Kane.
was, but as I was saying, I wasn't finished making my point
Yeah.
because I wanted to correct what I
Uh,
wanted to track back a little bit because I was obviously just a little bit emotional. I was just frustrated.
It
But
was a frustrating game, so I mean
But
I
what I was
understand.
trying to say is, you have to admit he wasn't at his best on Saturday against Watford.
Even when he's
But
not at
what?
our best, even
But
when he's not at his best, he's still our best.
but but even when he's not at his best, he still finds a way to impact games and deliver results for us. So that is exactly why you need to start him whenever you can. And now it has been
He's our
apparent
best
that
player. He's our
he
best
needs
player this
rest.
year.
It has been apparent that he needs rest. He
It
looks
has been
a
apparent that
little
he's the
tired out
best
here.
player we got this season.
It's fair. You could argue Hugo though is the other one,
Yeah, okay, yeah, I love Hugo. That's true.
but still, bro. Like what I'm trying to say is, even when he's not at his best, he still finds a way to impact games, and that is what makes the difference between a great player and a world class player. And
Okay.
Sonny is
Huh?
world class.
Okay, there we go. I'm gonna get round of applause. Round of applause. Now, I'm going to be really candid with those of you who are here with us at the 20-minute mark. All right. We, I know you don't want me to say this, Michael,
You
but we had
shouldn't.
actually
You
recorded this
shouldn't.
pod yesterday, a day ago. We recorded this pod. And of course, as the beautiful producer I am, I fucked it up. So we had to re record. And it's really unfortunate you guys are never going to get to hear the debate, not the debate, but the heated conversation Michael and I had about Hyungmin Daddy, and I think a lot of it was just I didn't completely understand where you were coming from, Michael. But also, Hyungmin could be at his worst, and he's still our best player, like hands down. Even though Harry Kane is back on, right? Like he's back on.
Hmm.
Hyungmin Son still is offering us more at this juncture right now. So, I mean, you see it week one, right? Man City pulls that goal out of nowhere and just cock rockets from the outside of the box,
Yep.
just wins us that game. Was he at his best that game? No. Has he been at his best all season? No. But man, I'll tell you what, the weight of a team can be heavy. And he was carrying us there through them Nuno days.
Hmm. No,
So
for
from
sure, man. For sure. I agree. He's come up time and time again, and like I said, even when he's not at his best, he still finds a way to impact games most of the time. I'm not gonna say every time because there are performances where we're like, ah, shit, well, that was kind of disappointing from Sonny, but he obviously has way more games that impress you than not. And that's what I mean by that's what separates a great player from a player that is of a world-class caliber, like Hyunmin Hung, Hyunmin Dad, Hyunmin Son.
Now, to be
Um,
fair, I will make one point real quick that he has not been as clinical as a finisher this season as he was last year.
mhm,
Last year, it felt like anytime the ball came to his feet in the box, he found a way to put it in the back of the net. And this season, against Watford, even, you saw it. He had a chance with the ball at his feet in the box, and he didn't finish. And he
yeah,
was so upset with himself. You know what I mean? So there's something definitely going on. I feel like the vibe between him and Kane is just not the same. There was also an instance earlier in the game where Kane, there was a little breakaway. I don't know if it was Oliver Skip. They kind of played the ball out of the back, and we won it. And Kane basically, it was him, Son, and one defender and their goalie. And instead of kind of playing Son in, Kane went and took the shot on, and he was wide right. And it just seems like last year, man, they're playing a little 1-2 there because they don't care who scores, right? I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Kane right now to get these goals. So he's trying to get these goals, and it's not necessarily helping the team. I think it's just kind of like he's trying too hard. Last year, he
yeah.
wasn't trying as hard, and we were scoring. Him and Sonny were breaking records. So I hope they can get back to that, man. It was beautiful to watch last year. And if they can get back to that with Antonio Conte, imagine how much more beautiful it would be.
Yeah, for sure, man. I definitely agree. And it just goes to show that Antonio Conte is improving pretty much every player. You could even argue Sonny is a different player under Conte than he was playing for Spurs under Nuno. You know what I mean? Like I feel like everyone has improved under Conte except for the ones that he's kind of, I don't want to say exiled, but just hasn't impressed him as much. They're obviously not
Yeah.
taking advantage, you know what I mean, of the opportunity.
Hmm.
And um, it just goes to show that we need to trust this man. We need to back him in the January transfer window, which, by the way, it's open. Like we mentioned, this is our first podcast of 2022. It's a new year, and we're
I'm
already a
gonna
few
go.
days into the transfer window now.
I'm gonna go against our boy Travis Scott and say yes. Do open up that window
Hmm.
because I'm ready for some transfers. But I know before we talk about transfers, you want to get into BDE and man of the match.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You want to lead us off?
All right, I'm gonna lead you off, and I never do this. This is the first time I ever do this. Okay, so my man of the match is gonna be the same as my BDE. I'm gonna split my BDE a little bit, but Davinson Sanchez is my man of the match because in the 96th minute, this man with big dick energy just headed that ball in. Now Sonny distributed a very beautiful ball, and you know what? Sometimes all you need is that one beautiful delivery and things to just go right. And they did. And it kind of felt like, that Southampton 3-1 tie was rectified, if you will.
Hmm.
So for me, big dick energy, Davinson Sanchez, man of the match, Davinson Sanchez. I mean, he encapsulated For me, what the BDE is, after he scored the game-winning buzzer beater goal,
Mhm.
he just flexed on him. Someone give me a hug, and I loved it. So for me, he wins it all. I will split the man of the match a little bit with Hugo Lloris, our skipper, just because he was standing on his head. I know there was like two saves there that pretty outstanding. I think if you have Golini in there, I don't know if he stops both of those. Maybe one of those. I don't even know if he stops both of either one, but either way, Hugo Lloris showed out for us. So that's my man of the match in BDE. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you for man of the match. On your second one, I can definitely see your point of man of the match being Davinson and then BD also Davinson as well. Fully deserved as well. I'm gonna give my man of the match though to Hugo Lloris. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. You mentioned he had a few saves that were brilliant that you don't know if Galini would have made, and I definitely agree with that statement as well. There was the one against João Pedro's stunner from it was just I think just inside the box or just outside of the box after he had pretty much dusted all. Uh, sadly, please Lord forgive me for what I'm about to say. Before he absolutely dusted Oliver Skip, and I think it was Davinson or Dyer, I forget. But and then he megged Højbjerg later in the game. Oh man, I'm saying too much. I'm saying too much. But yeah, he had a fantastic save against João Pedro in the second half, and when he was called upon once again, old reliable brick wall back there. What can you say? Man,
Hmm.
he's my man of the match, but BD I gotta go with. Today it's not Big Dick energy of the match, it's Big Dav energy of the match.
Big Dav.
Big Dav energy, I'm giving it to Davinson Sanchez.
Let's go.
Absolute, absolute scenes in the away end. And right in, well, not right in front of them, but almost right in front of them is just Davinson Sanchez. High and firm.
Look at me now.
I am your dad now. He
Bro,
owns Watford for the rest of the season.
the
By
way he
why I see
celebrates,
it.
I mean, without a doubt, he owns Watford. But the way I see it, like the way he's been celebrating after these goals, bro, to me, it's almost like he knows that he's up for his, starting position is up for grabs with when Romero comes back. I also think it's a little bit he knows that the fan base has kind of lost a little faith in him, and he's kind of went a little wayward. And I think for him, it's just kind of like, okay, look, I'm starting to put it together now. So
Yep,
what's up now? And I love it, bro. It's such a beautiful thing to see.
for sure, for sure. And I think speaking on Hugo, you want to dive into the January transfer window?
Oh, we can dive on in.
So I wanted to make one point. There was a rumor, or not a rumor, it was a report yesterday from Fabrizio Romano. We're recording this on a Monday. So on Sunday, Fabrizio did tweet out that we did make contact with Hugo and his agents about renewing and extending his contract with the club. But it brings up a good point, and it brings up one of the big topics that I wanted to bring up as far as the January transfer window goes, is how the hell have we not renewed Hugo's contract or even started talks with
Hmm.
Hugo and his camp about extending his contract? You look at how expensive it is nowadays to find it's hard enough to find a world-class keeper out there, but it's also another thing to pay for a world-class keeper out there because it's not cheap. It's definitely not cheap. And you look at the likes of Kepa, who was 80 million for Chelsea, who ended up being a flop. They thought they were getting world class, and that's the other thing. You don't know how these players from other leagues are going to translate to the Premier League as
Look at
well. And
Golini.
well, okay, well
Sorry.
he hasn't played a full season yet, but
I know.
you could.
Sorry.
Well, let's
Sorry.
go back to Kepa though, because he obviously flopped in the Premier League, and he wasn't cheap by any means. Again, he was 80 million. I think it was pounds or euros. I forget. One of those two.
80 million or whatever the fuck's, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
No matter what it is, it's a lot of money. And it's very hard nowadays to find a world-class keeper, in my opinion. And you look at the likes of, and you bring up a good point with Golini, though. You do, because when he has been called upon at points this season, he hasn't exactly delivered 100% of the time. You know what I mean? Like there have been shots that Hugo 10 out of 10 would have been able to save so far this season.
Oh
But
yeah.
the kid's learning, he's still developing, he's young. But it brings me to my point. If you're losing Hugo this summer, you have to bring in someone who is at least the same level that he's on right now. You need a world-class keeper to win the Premier League. And that
Hmm.
is I assume with all other Spurs fans is we need to be challenging for the Premier League next season after we get two transfer windows under Conte's belt. You know what
No,
I mean? Like
100%.
it would be, and it would be so much cheaper as well if you're going to look at it for in a financial light. If you're Daniel Levy, it's going to cost you so much less to just extend a player who's already on contract, maybe give him a little bit of a raise because you're only giving him one more year. It's going to be less expensive to do that than to bring in a world-class keeper or a world-class caliber of keeper
I'm
in
going
the
to go out
transfer
on a limb.
market.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that I would put him up for 2 more years. Honestly, I don't know why we didn't sign him for 2, 3 whenever we did extend him. I thought it was a little short. I mean, the man's 35, right?
Yep.
So he's still got 2 solid years before he goes to MLS. So for me, I mean, or he goes to probably League One, plays for one of them. What, Nice? I heard someone
Yeah,
say he go.
Nice.
So I mean, I would trust Lloris to do what he thinks is best, but honestly, what we've seen out of him this year, he's shown that he deserves a contract extension, and also what we've seen out of who we have behind him has also shown that he deserves an extension on his contract. So, for me, it's got to get done. There's a couple things I'd like to see get done in this transfer window, and I know this Vlahovic character is very much talked about. I saw some other stuff from I'm not even going to mention their name, talking about Lukaku, which I think is total rubbish. Uh, for me, you bring Vlahovic in. If you can get him anything under 70 million, that's a big win for me. I've
Yep.
heard he's supposed to be one of the top three strikers for the next 10 years, not in the next 10 years, for the next 10 years. So, I mean, that all remains to be seen, right? He plays for Florentino, which is a Serie A team, and they're not really challenging, to my knowledge. But he's a pretty solid cat. I'd like to see him. Now, of course, when every transfer window opens, for some reason, I feel like ever since I thought about it, I manifested it. But Adama Traore, once again, is just, Antonio Conte or Paratici. He likes Adama Traore. I love Adama Traore. I think Adama Traore, if we had him in this game against Watford, that's a 3-0 game right there. Because this is the kind of guy who gets from end to end. He can play anywhere on the pitch. You get him with Antonio Conte, bro. His size, his physicality, his strength, his speed, his ball skills, bro. Don't laugh. You need to stop laughing at me right now because I'm 100% serious. Adama Traore will turn this team around, bro. That's how I
No,
feel.
he's not the answer. Definitely not the answer. 0 goals and 0 assists, 0 goal contributions in the Premier
Most,
League this season is
bro,
all you need to know.
the stats are so misleading, bro. Yeah, everyone can look and point at stats. Stats are very good. Don't get me wrong. I used to be a statistician for the Dallas Cowboys during games. So, like, trust me, I understand stats can tell you a story, but they don't tell you the whole story. You got to watch this man. If you watch this man, bro, it's all there. He just needs a person like Antonio Conte to put him in a position where all his strengths can be utilized. And bro, I'm telling you, we don't need him to finish in the box. We don't need him to finish outside the box. We just need him to threaten the box, pull defenders towards him, open up lanes for Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, and our attack is solved. And we don't have to worry about what midfield we bring in, and we still start Højbjerg and Skip. That's how I feel. At me, tell me I'm wrong. I don't give a fuck.
I think
I
you're
love
wrong,
me some
but
Adama
it's all right.
Traore. Them oily
I'll let
arms,
you go on.
I'll rub them oily arms. Come on, man. Come on, man. Sorry, I'm getting real animated over Adama Traore, but I love Adama Traore. I love what he brings to the game, and I think that he could be a real difference maker for Tottenham Hotspur.
I think for me, when you look at the January transfer window, I think the most pressing position that you need to reinforce is the creative midfielder role that's going to be playing under Antonio Conte's system. We saw it, and we saw it all pretty much. I would argue throughout the entirety of the match, especially in the second half, where we just struggled to break down teams. We struggled to pick apart stubborn defenses and back lines, and we've seen it before in the season as well, where we're screaming out for a Ndombele type of player, a creative mid, someone who's going to produce chances, create chances, and put people into the best position to score goals, like Harry Kane and Hyun Min Hung. But until we get that position reinforced, man, we're going to continue to see the same thing over and over again for the rest of the year. And I think for me, if you don't get a creative mid in this January transfer window, the odds of winning top four are not going to be nearly as high as if you get someone who's going to be able to be that chance creator for you, that person who's going to be flicking the magic wand in the middle of the midfield. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So let me
But
ask you this, okay? This transfer window, we pick up Adama Traore for 25 million, and we pick up Vlahovic for under 70. I don't know what, and we re-sign Hugo. Is that a successful transfer window for you?
yes and no. I think we need more. You said Vlahovic, Traore, and Hugo.
Mm-hmm.
We need
And
a
maybe
creative
one or
mid.
two out the
There's
door.
there's no one that's going to be able to create chances there. The
Adama
only thing I could
Traore,
see,
bro.
no, he's not going to. I promise you. Maybe he would improve under Conte, but at this point, especially in where we're at in the season and the games coming up that are ahead of us for the rest of the year, if you do not address this creative midfielder situation and get a player who is guaranteed to make an impact now instead of hoping for improvement or hoping that Conte transforms the player later down the line, I still think that you need a creative mid. Yeah, look, you need a creative mid, you need another striker, and you need a center back, in my opinion. Either a left-sided center back or someone who can play on the right. I don't care. We need a borderline at least world class center back in my opinion to challenge for top four along with the creative mid, and then you need another striker. I
Yeah, we
think
need the depth. We
if
need the
those
depth,
three positions
100%.
get addressed, I will be happy with the January transfer window. If any of those miss, if I'm not satisfied with any one of those three, I'm not satisfied with the transfer window. I would call it a disappointment.
Bro, we signed Adama Traore and re-signed Hugo Lloris. That's all it takes for me, and I'm happy. I'm happy as a motherfucker. So that's how I feel. I know we feel a little bit differently. Honestly, I want to make some kind of bet or a wager of some kind that if we do get Adama, you know what? We'll save it. If we do get him, then we'll make a wager. How about that? You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with
And
that.
just a friendly wager, nothing like financial, just friendly.
Yeah.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, man. But like I mentioned, we need a creative mid, center back, and a striker. You mentioned we are rumored to be interested in signing Adama Traore. I would say I wouldn't spend more than 20-25 mil on him. So hopefully we would, if we do get him, it's for a low fee. Fingers crossed. But it'll be interesting to see how much money we actually will spend in the transfer window this month. I've heard that I've heard talks at whoever the fuck on Twitter saying that we're more likely to spend bigger in the summer this year. That's coming up, especially if we make top four and get that Champions League qualification, that Champions League money. But yeah, man, it remains to be seen. Antonio Conte has shown us what he can do with the squad that he has now, and it's been pretty impressive so far. But that's only going to take you to a certain extent in the Premier League with the way everyone else is playing right now. I still think the fourth spot is up for grabs, and I think we can make a good push, but we need signings this month. We need signings this window,
Mm-hmm.
and if we don't get it done, top four is going to be a dream, in my opinion. But hey, who
And
knows, man? Who knows?
Getting Antonio Conte was a dream.
It
So dreams
was.
come true, baby. And
Dreams come true.
this might be our time. I feeling it. I feel good. We started off the year with 3 points, so for me, I mean, Antonio Conte's doing something. We got something brewing. And I hope we back him. That's the main thing. We gotta back the guy in January.
We do.
Um, because if you
When
don't do that, then what's the point of him even being here? And I think he'll leave quicker than hell if he knows that we're not going to financially invest in the team that he wants to win with, right?
and dude, just take a look at this schedule just coming up this month. You're playing Chelsea 3 times in 1 month. You're playing them 2 times in your next three, and 4 times, or excuse me, 3 times in your next four. Like that is ridiculous. And then you also have the North London Derby at home on January 16th. Like there are a lot of big games coming up, and you're gonna see because we can't play the same players every single game. That's not going to be plausible. We need to give
Yeah,
players rest. There's
no
gonna be
way.
some sort of rotation. You
Hmm.
rotate with the players we have now, we're not going to win all of those games. I promise you that. I promise you. No matter if we have Antonio Conte or not. He needs reinforcements now, and it's time for Daniel Levy and Paratici to step up to the plate and deliver for the man that they desperately wanted. You desperately wanted this man. Now get him what he needs. Give him the tools to be successful.
We know we got the money, bro. We got the money.
But like I mentioned, we do have Chelsea. Well, I didn't mention that we had Chelsea coming up next, but we play them 3 times this month, twice in the Carabao Cup semifinal. The first leg is this Wednesday, January 5th. That is going to be at Stamford Bridge as well. The reverse leg will be on January 12th at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In between then, we have a FA Cup match, against Morecambe. That's how you pronounce it. They're the Fighting Shrimps of England. And then we have, like I mentioned, the North London Derby. Morecambe. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Not Morecambe, I'm sorry.
Damn.
But North London Derby, January 16th. That's on the horizon for us. But like I mentioned, we do have Chelsea on Wednesday. We will be previewing that match tomorrow on Tuesday, January 4th. If you're listening to this either on today, Monday, or you're listening to this on a Tuesday. At Tuesday, 12:30 Mountain Standard Time, we're going live on Tottenham Away's YouTube channel for the Spurs Atlantic show, as always. So catch us over on there as we preview the Carabao Cup semifinal against Chelsea. We'll also get into some
Tottenham Away.
Shout out Tottenham Away. We'll also get into some January transfer talk as well on that episode, and then we will speak to you again after the Chelsea match, the first Chelsea match, this Wednesday. We'll talk to you after that. We'll do a post-game recap show for the podcast. But until then, Jacob, do you have any final thoughts?
I want to say shout out Faraz, my longtime homie, my day one. He's a sponsor of the show. Again, if you want to be a sponsor of the show, you can head over to our anchor.fm/United Spurs of America. You can head on over there. There's a little support button. You can do like $1 a month. You can do $2 a month, $5, whatever you want to do. We'll shout you out on every episode from here on out. As long as you're a sponsor, we'll enter you in some cool giveaways we got coming up. So please, please, please stay tuned for all that good stuff. Again, you can follow us on Twitter, Spurs of A. Spotify, you got a new rating system, so please give us 5 stars if you love us.
And if you're listening on Spotify, we're on video now. And if you're on video, hello.
Hey.
Good to see you, and I'm glad you guys can see us.
I didn't shave, but I hope I look appropriate. But you know what? I just appreciate whoever's listening out there, whether you're from the Tottenham Away family, you listen to our live streams, you want to listen to our show, or you're with our show and you listen to the live streams, whatever it is. We definitely adore you and we appreciate you. Also, I want to say shout out my buddy Jacob Scott. If you're listening, man, he showed me a screenshot of his Spotify. He's listening to every single episode we got. So,
thank you,
these
man.
guys,
I appreciate it.
These guys help us keep going. So I just want the last thing before we sign off today. Anyway, I want to shout out our sponsor, Faraz. So thank you, Faraz, for being our sponsor.
Faraz. Thank you so much. Like we said, we will see you again after the Chelsea match on Wednesday. Please follow us on Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. We're active on all the social channels and all that good stuff. And thank you once again, like we mentioned, to all the people who are coming over from the live stream. And if you're here from the pod, hop over to the live stream on Tuesdays. It's fun. It's a good time. Like we mentioned, 12:30 Mountain Standard Time.
Got a little chat. You can chat with the bots and stuff.
Yeah, that's 2:30 Eastern Time and then 7:30 UK time if you're listening across the pond. If you're listening across the pond, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
But until then, thank you guys so much for listening to another edition of the United Spurs of America podcast with Michael and Jacob. Until Wednesday, we will see you. Big up the lads. Hopefully we get 3 points. Well, I guess not 3 points, but hopefully we get a win in the Carabao Cup semifinal. Big up the lads.
First leg on the third leg, you know what I'm saying?
And Jacob?
Come on, you Spurs.
Of course.
United Spurs of America with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.